most insane, craziest, and memorable days of owning 2 restaurants. I've been wanting to share this story since I opened this channel. I just didn't know how I was going to deliver this story because there had to be animation with it as well, which I will be doing. But without it, it wouldn't have been nearly as funny. But this was my craziest, most memorable, and insane day ever owning Wingnuts. So, one day, it was a boring day, which was rare. There was always some kind of drama going on. Something was blowing up. A customer had a major issue. Employees had drama of their own. A delivery wasn't made. You name it. There was never a day without craziness. Well, this day had no craziness. And I got all the way to like 4 o'clock in the afternoon with no drama and no trauma, which is unheard of. If you have kids or have pets, you know that silence is not golden. It's usually drama and trauma. Well, this day was no exception, and it was the most insane day of owning my restaurants. So, it's around 4 o'clock. It's very quiet in my restaurant that I'm in. It's pretty quiet in the one 20 minutes away from me as I look on the cameras and I look at sales. It's just downtime, normal, won't pick up till 5. Well, as I'm sitting in the office just enjoying some quiet, I get a frantic phone call from my second location, and this is what happened. Kayla, you have to come here now. What's wrong, Josh? Dylan has gone crazy. I'm like, Dylan's not even supposed to be there yet. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Now, let me tell you, Josh was a big guy. He was ex-military. He retired from the military. Nothing bothered Josh. We were robbed at that location at one point, and he took care of it like a champ, and that's a whole nother story. But nothing phases or scares him. There's nothing he can't handle. So for the fact that he was freaking out and calling me, telling me to rush there, let me know something was up. So I look on the camera at the location he's at. He's plastered to the kitchen wall like this, and on the phone with me with his eyes popping out of his head. I looked next to him, and Dylan was next to him throwing raw chicken wings in the air, screaming, "Let's make some chicken!" I was like, what the hell's wrong with Dylan? Now, Dylan's backstory is that, and all names have been changed, but Dylan's backstory was during the day he worked a construction job. He was going to school for plumbing, and he worked for us part-time. He had been with us over a year, only in the evenings and weekends, and he was lovely. We never had issues with him, and he was just a calm, chill dude. Well, something had changed because he's having a meltdown in the kitchen and freaking out my best cook. So I dropped everything and I drove down there. It took me over 20 minutes to get there, and this is what I saw. So I drove frantically 20 minutes away to my second location to check on my employees and make sure everyone's okay and figure out how to go from there. I barge in the back door, and I still see my employee Josh plastered against the wall of the kitchen, freaking out because Dylan is still, over 20 minutes later, throwing raw chicken wings in the air, screaming, "Let's make some chicken!" And apparently, when I got there, Josh told me that Dylan tried to put his hands on him because Josh wasn't helping him make some chicken. So I said Dylan's name multiple times, and nothing was there. Nothing. He would not respond to me. He would not look me in the eyes. I put my hand on his shoulder, and he went as hard as he could with his elbow and clocked me in the face. I'm a short person. I'm 5'2" on a good day. So I gave up. I was like, I'm putting my employees, my restaurant, and my customers at risk. I have to call the police and an ambulance. So I call 911. I tell them what I know, which is very little. The police and an ambulance come to assess the situation. Dylan was carted away in a gurney tied to it because when they got there, he was still freaking out, not responding. He fought them the entire time they were trying to get him on the gurney, screaming at the top of his lungs, "I've got to make the chicken! I can't leave! I'm at work! I've got to make the chicken!" And we're like, "You can take him. We're good. You know, we'll find someone to come in for him, but thank you." And I'm just hoping that Dylan's gonna be okay, because still we don't know what's going on. The police asked me if I have any information on Dylan, and I'm like, no, I don't, but I'll give you his file, and we can watch the camera together. So we go in my office there, and I show them, well, we watch it together, the camera footage of the moment he walks in the restaurant until the moment I got there. And this is exactly what we saw. We saw Dylan walk into the restaurant from the front door with his backpack over his shoulder, slumped down and tired because he's been at work all day, probably up all night doing schoolwork, just normal, you know, that's just normally him. He walks in, he talks to a couple of the customers, smiles, walks to the bathroom. He's in the bathroom for about 20 minutes. He doesn't clock in till 5, so he's got all the time in the world. But 20 minutes, what is he doing in there? He's just changing his shirt. Well, when he comes out of the bathroom, that's when the real party starts. So me and the police are in my small office, and we're watching the footage of when Dylan walked in and before the craziness started. Well, after spending 20 minutes in the restroom, Dylan comes out with a bang. He slams open the bathroom door like comes out and is like this. He's just like, "Let's make some chicken! Let's do it!" Veins are popping out of his neck. His face is all red. He's going crazy. The customers in the dining room are staring at him, talking. Some of them are getting up because he's flipping out right outside the restrooms. We watch him walk around the corner into the kitchen, and that's where Josh starts freaking out and seeing him because all Dylan is doing is screaming, "Let's make some chicken! Let's make some chicken!" And just... And Josh then plasters himself against the wall and calls me. Well, that whole time I'm driving, of course, things are going on in there. And you can see that Josh is trying to get Dylan away from the chicken. And Dylan is beating him up and screaming at him and telling him he must make the chicken. He's got to make the chicken. So me and the cops go into the bathroom to figure out what on earth happened between the time he went into the bathroom and came out of the bathroom. And we discovered the residue of a small white line. You know exactly where I'm getting with that. So they asked me if I knew of any, habit of his. And I'm like, I have no idea. This has never happened before. I don't know what he does in his personal life. All I can think of is maybe he resorted to this because, he has 2 jobs. He's going to school. And who's to say that's even his? Because we don't have cameras in the bathroom, and I don't want to say that he's doing that, But, the evidence kind of led us to that. But anyway, that was absolutely insane. Then a few days later, after the fact, Dylan came and found me at my other location that I was normally at and begged for his job back and apologized. And I'm like, "I'm so sorry, Dylan. I can't let you work here anymore because you put us at risk." And I'm like, was that yours in the bathroom? And he was honest. He said, "Yes, I'm just tired. I have to keep up 2 jobs. I'm going back to school. Please, forgive me and take me back." And I'm like, again, I really wish I could, but I wish you came to me first and let me help you instead of ruining a whole day and evening of sales and scaring our employees, our guests, causing a scene. We could have done things a little differently if I had known that, you needed some kind of help or break. But, yeah, that was my most insane and craziest day working in my restaurants.